can't remember the last time we saw anything out there. Nothing on the horizon. Hasn't been anything on the horizon since that fish packing ship we saw. When was that? 30 days ago? 28 days ago, something like that. It's been a long time since we've seen anybody but ourselves. June 29th, day 35. We're sailing, we've shaken the reefs out of the main, and we're sailing on a course of 060, a little east of northeast, heading directly towards our waypoint at Cape Flattery. We have a little less than 900 miles to go. We're in the 800s now. Yesterday we enjoyed calm seas, light winds out of the west. The boat was self-steering very nicely well into the evening. We got a lot of much needed rest, had some good meals, and enjoyed ourselves immensely. We discovered, what was it, Laura? The corn chowder mix and canned chicken and canned new potatoes, which needed to be cut up into slightly smaller pieces to make them heat through, and mix that all up with just plain old water and curry powder, lots of curry powder, and some raisins, and it turned out first rate, excellent meal. Just sitting around brainstorming about what we'd like. I started with curry, and then we started thinking about what we have on board and just threw it all together, and it came out great. And we've had some of our best meals like that. So it's it's not all canned soup. We're having some great meals, especially when the weather's calm. But when the waves are big, chili and rice, something that you can just throw in a pot, heat it up, and eat it is the best thing. It's good to have hot meals and good food. But it was very, very renewing and refreshing yesterday to have the rest. And we had 3 good meals yesterday. We had a good breakfast, good solid oatmeal breakfast, and what was it, mushroom soup with water chestnuts added for lunch, and with crackers, of course. And then in the evening we had the curry, which was great. During the afternoon we also snacked. We have some green apples, some Granny Smith apples with peanut butter and chocolate pudding. We snacked on that. Oh, and oranges. We had some oranges. So, good food is essential to good morale, especially after several days of 2 hours on, 2 hours off in bad weather. It was very stressful and very tiring for several days, and but we really needed that rest. Today the light conditions continue. Last night the wind dropped off completely and the boat was just bobbing around in circles with no wind at all. This morning the wind changed, and so now we're on the starboard tack, but we're back on our regular course, heading for our destination slowly. Didn't make a whole lot of progress yesterday because the wind was so light, and also because we had no wind at all for most of the night. But we are moving forward. We are going to miss the rendezvous. I'm sorry, guys. Hope no one's too worried about us because we're fine. We're just having to take it slow because of our damaged forestay, and because we have no self-steering. The boat's doing pretty good right now, steering herself. As long as the wind cooperates, we can manage this. It's much easier on the crew to be able to stay inside the cabin. It's cold outside. It's been raining intermittently, and it's very draining on us. But especially after 35 days at sea, haven't been seasick for a few days. That's good, and we're optimistic. Found another box of tissues, so the toilet paper crisis is abated. If we take too much longer, though, we'll be right back there again. But meanwhile, we think we've got the toilet paper thing handled. Breeze holding up well, getting plenty of rest. But the boat on the inside has been wet for so long that we're growing things on the walls. So we're going to have to do some serious cleanup when we get in, and we have a lot of repairs to do as well. So we're going to be very, very busy when we finally do find land and when we finally do reach port, and we're going to have to find a place where we can work on the boat. Okay, so that's it for today, and we'll be back tomorrow to fill you in on our progress. Right, Bree? Hi, honey.
Hello.
What you doing?
We're having oatmeal raisin pancakes for breakfast this morning.
Oh, yay. That sounds really good.
One of those mornings where the movement in the boat is not too bad. And
How about looking at me when you talk?
sorry. Got to keep an eye on the stuff, you know. It's one of those perfect mornings for pancakes. The motion of the boat is not too bad, and why not have pancakes for breakfast whenever you can.
Indeed. Why not?
So we have 4 scoops of Quickies instant pancake mix, 2 scoops of regular oatmeal, and just a handful of raisins and some cinnamon.
Hold on a minute. The lens is fogging up. Okay, we're back. Wipe the lens off. There's so much humidity and condensation in here, it fogs up. Okay, so over here on the griddle.
There on the griddle we have our
pancakes.
My favorite pancake pan.
Favorite pancake pan.
Bought at Kilgo's.
Oh, that's the griddle.
That's our griddle for.
That's right. It's a it's actually a Coleman camp griddle, I think, if I remember right. And we got the little pan adjustable
holders.
fiddle things that go on the stove that'll keep it from moving around. Well, it's not moving too much at the moment.
These things are great. The little clips that come off of coffees.
What's that?
Those little metal clips that come off of coffees. Ground
Hold it still. I'm
coffees.
trying to take a picture of it.
Off our ground coffee in the store.
Yeah, the little metal clip.
Those
and
actually
they work on the.
work for the griddle to hold it down even better.
Yeah, you put it on the little adjustable wire fiddle thing that clamps to the stove, and then that helps hold the griddle down. Those wire clamp deals are made for pots, so they're curved to go around a pot, and they don't actually work too good on the griddle. So anyway, Laura's making pancakes, and when she's done, we'll get a picture of the result, huh, honey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yum, yummy. Yeah. That's amazed me. Laura's been able to whip up the most amazing meals since we've been at sea. Right now the conditions are pretty calm, and you know, with although we are rocking and rolling a bit. You gotta watch it to make the pancake batter runs all over the griddle, and it's not good. It's these weird shaped pancakes. You gotta make it thick enough, you said?
You have to make it thick enough. You can't do the thin pancakes.
No thin pancakes.
No thin
huh?
pancakes.
Okay, no thin pancakes. And so we got our little arrangement here with our counter extension over the chart table. We take the stove cover, flip it upside down, and it spans the gap between the chart table and the back of the dinette. So it gives a place to work. Pancakes, yay! All right, well, we'll be back when they're done. All right. Steaming hot pancakes. What kind of pancakes are they, Laura?
These are oatmeal raisin pancakes.
Oatmeal raisin
With
pancakes.
peanut butter.
With peanut butter.
If you've never had peanut butter on pancakes, you've never lived. This was a happy.
And of course, real maple syrup. Store-bought kind, you know, kind of grade C maple syrup, but it's real maple syrup. You know, not the kind David makes at Maple Grove Farm in Williston, Vermont. I'm going to go see him soon, I hope. Him and Ginger, two of our favorite people up there in my hometown. And Ginger makes some awesome pancakes too.
She sure does.
She sure does. And with real grade A fancy maple syrup that they make right there on the farm, there's nothing better. But I tell you what, this meal is going to go down very good, very well. Nice hot steaming pancakes on a cold morning like this. And I'm going to put the camera down right now and dig in. So see you later.
Come take a look, man.
What?
It's the first smidge of blue in the sky we've had in like 10 days, I think. Holy crow. You better check it out quick. It's going fast.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
10 days?
Yeah. But
What?
just look, it's going to go away fast.
Oh yeah. I see it.
But there it is.
I see it. Okay. There's a little blue up there. Son of a gun. How about all that? Well, that was exciting. That was exciting.
We have absolutely zero wind, and we're doing exactly 1 mile an hour, but we have a little blue in the sky.
Wow, that's first rate.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
All right.
Ho. All right, July 1st, day 37. We have a little wind back. Yeah, we had 2 days of virtually no wind at all, and we're just drifting. Made very little progress, but we were relaxed and we were well fed. I'm just trying to get the boat to self-steer, but I'm not having a whole lot of luck this morning for some reason. It keeps wanting to head south, as we are right now, due south. So that's not the way we want to go. I'm going to have to get my gear on, go out in the cockpit, and fiddle with it for a while, see if I can get this thing to steer. Otherwise, we're going to just sit out there and steer, keep it on course to where we want to go. We do have westerly wind that should push us right in the right direction without any trouble at all. So just a little fiddling. We've gotten lazy over the last couple of days, sitting in the cabin, eating. Had pancakes again for breakfast this morning. It was great. Last night we had, what did we have last night? What did we have last night that was so good? It was really good, whatever it was. Was it a curry? Oh yeah, it was a curry with the pasta. Yeah, it was good. So yeah, we've been eating real well and having a good time. But we need to do some sailing if we're ever going to get there at all. So I'm gonna go back out and see what I can do about getting this puppy on course. see we're both here. Today is July 2nd. That would make it day 38. It's getting to be a long trip. Laura's happy though. We get to just bob around out here all by ourselves and have fun. Cooking up some real creative meals, and we're enjoying all that. We are now about a little bit more than 750 miles from Cape Flattery. Boat steering itself, we're making 3.5 knots, and concerned about the weather. I don't know. Barometer was dropping steadily through the night.
Reading our weather guide. Trying to make sense of the clouds that are forming out there and what we think they might do based on what the barometer is doing and the temperature and what the clouds look like.
Yeah, barometer's holding steady for the time being. Temperature is getting colder.
Well, the barometer dropped quite a bit this morning.
Barometer dropped quite a bit this morning, but it's been holding for 2 hours, 2.5 hours now. It's raining outside and it's cold outside. The clouds are the same clouds that have been with us ever since about day 10. So
It was like, what, 30 days ago?
a month ago, yeah. So
When was the last time we saw the sun? Really saw the sun?
So last time the sun was out long enough to really warm us up was about a month ago.
That one day where they kept popping out for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we had we had some days. We had a couple of days where we had some fairly decent sunshine and mostly cloudy, but some sun. But yeah, it hasn't been good.
In general, it's been cold.
Cold and wet. Yeah, cold and wet. There's mold growing on the inside of the boat. Everything is pretty much damp. Everything. There's nothing dry left on the boat at all.
It's not as damp as it used to be.
Well, it dried out a little bit yesterday, but right now it's pretty damp. I mean, there's water running down the sides of the hull and condensation on the cabin walls and everything.
But it's not as bad as it was.
Yeah,
Not
well,
nearly
let's
as
hope.
bad as it was.
Let's just hope that it doesn't get any worse. We still have 750 some miles to go. 760 miles, something like that.
What is this, day 30?
Day 38.
38.
Day 38. Yeah.
We haven't done our noon sight yet. So
We haven't done our noon position yet, but we don't know exactly where we are. As long as we're out this far from land, I'm only doing position once. Actually, we're checking it 3 or 4 times a day, but I'm only recording it once a day at noon. And we get within a couple hundred miles of Cape Flattery.
We'll be a little more concerned.
We'll be a little bit more precise about our navigation.
But right now, we haven't
Right
seen
now-
any ships, or we're not near any.
It was day 8 or
Shipping
9.
lanes.
8 or 9 was the last time we saw another ship or airplane, or we haven't seen anything. So.
We're not near any shipping lanes at all. So, kind of alone out here.
Yeah, kind of alone out here. I mean, it's not bad. We're enjoying each other's company and eating well.
goodness.
We're eating well. That's one good thing. And that's about it for today. So, conditions haven't changed. We've been alternating no wind and too much wind for the last 3 days. It'll be almost nothing in the morning, early in the morning, and along about 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, it will wind will drop off. A couple times the boats just rounded up and sat there drifting. Last night we sailed through the night,
Yeah.
but then the wind builds during the day up to the point where it was uncomfortable last night. Had us pinned over.
That bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but I mean, it had it pinned over on the starboard tack, which means we're rolling out of our bunk. We don't have the use of the port bunk, so it was a little bit uncomfortable, but not worrisome. And then this dropped off again this morning, but we are still able to make, I think it was 3.5 knots, 3.5 knots, and the boat's steering herself, so mercifully we don't have to sit out in the cockpit in the cold rain to keep the boat going.
Anyway,
Anything to add to that, sweetheart?
that's it.
Well then,
That's it for today.
that's it for today. Today is July 3rd. That makes it day 39. Ooh. Yep, July 3rd, day 39. Yesterday was a strange day. The weather deteriorated all day long. The barometer fell like a rock. The boat was self-steering. We came down below and buttoned down. The weather was nasty outside. It rained. It was cold. We had waves breaking over the boat. It was not pleasant at all. We were reefed down Maine. And the boat just turned around. It was self-steering, but it just turned around and wound up pointing in the opposite direction where we wanted to go, southwest, exactly opposite of our course, in fact, and just lay there. So we just basically hung out inside the boat all night, hanging on because the boat was pitched over. Bree got rolled out of the bunk several times onto the floor. We were braced, and it was a pretty uncomfortable night. But in the morning, the barometer started rising, and it started looking pretty promising. We ran the engine for a couple of hours, ran the water maker, charged up the batteries, and have been trying to get the boat to self-steer, but the wind's been backing around to the east, so now we have, instead of the nice consistent westerly that's supposed to blow us right into the Strait of Juan de Fuca, now we've got a sort of a east-southeast wind, well, about southeast wind. The boat is steering herself on a slightly north of east course right now, but she's flipped around a couple of times. She doesn't like this. Doesn't like this heading, this point of sail. The barometer's rose all day and is holding steady now, so we're hopeful that we'll have clearing conditions. And so is Bree, hopeful. But it's not good. It's not nice out there. It's cold and it's wet outside the cabin. So we're spending as much time inside the cabin as we possibly can. Pop our head up through the hatch, take a look around 360 degrees every 15-20 minutes or so. But if the boat spins around and heaves to on itself, it just basically turns around and points south and stops. The ride's not too bad. The boat isn't going anywhere. We are still better than 700 miles from land, and so we're not too concerned about drifting. But we have made some progress. We only made about 20 miles progress in 24 hours, ending with our noon sight today. But I'm confident that in the morning we'll be in the 600s and make some progress towards our destination. We will get there eventually, to whatever degree of comfort is possible. We're trying. We are still eating well, and we still have plenty of water thanks to our water maker, and we still have some reserve water as well. But we're out of some certain essentials. We ran out of chocolate. That's really hard to take. Ran out of chocolate. What else did we run out of? Oh, we ran out of rice. And we ran out of certain kinds of pasta that I like. But we still have plenty of curry powder, plenty of chili. We've got corn chowder, and we got lots of food on board. So we're not hurting for food. We're not going to go hungry. At least we'll be able to have hot meals. We got plenty of fuel for the stove. We'll have our hot meals, and helps keep our spirits and our strength up. But this serial bad weather that we've been having is getting a little old. And we've been praying for good weather, hoping we'll get it more than just a few hours. We've gotten a few hours of good weather, but I'd like to have like 10 days of good weather. so we could get into port in some reasonable degree of comfort and possibly even dryness, who knows. Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on our compass, make sure the boat doesn't veer off into never land somewhere, take us on a wild ride in the wrong direction. Hi, honey. We're on course for Cape Flattery, making about 4 knots. Sailing pretty much dead downwind, not quite. Trying to get a little bit more north than we had previously because we got driven off to the south. The weather that Laura predicted, our warm front, has arrived. We've got thin layer of cloud cover with a little bit of blue peeking through. Weather is warm, much warmer than it has been. It's in the mid 60s in the cabin anyway, even with the hatch open. No rain. Whoa, what the heck is that? Oh, a ship. Our first ship in 4 weeks.
Where are we?
Dead astern.
Oh, really close.
Yeah, really close. Sneaked right up on us while we were doing that maneuvering.
It's another one of those fishing things.
No, yeah, it might be. I don't know. It's got big booms on it. It's like a cargo vessel of some kind. Who knows? Who knows?
First ship in how long?
I think it was like day 9 or 10, the last one we saw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a month since we saw anything at all out here. So we are getting closer to Cape Flattery and the shipping lanes, and we're going to have to be more careful from now on at night with our watch. Hell, broad daylight, that one just snuck right up on us, and it's pretty close. As we weren't paying attention, we were doing our sail handling, shaking a reef out of the mainsail, trying to get it all set, picking jellyfish off the deck. We had, there was 3 or 4 of them in the cockpit this morning when I came on. 5 in the cockpit. Oh, we had a bunch of them on deck too. How many did you have on deck, Laura?
5.
5 on deck. Can't decide whether I need my sunglasses or not. 5 on the deck and 3 or 4 in the cockpit. We had a bunch of them all over the boat yesterday, or this morning. And so we cleaned those up. They make nice purple stains on everything. I don't know how long those stains will last, but we shall see. And there are thousands of them, millions of them surrounding us right now. I mean, they're just packed together. It's unbelievable how many jellyfish there are floating in the water. And there have been ever since, where were we, 35 north? So we've been sailing through these jellyfish for weeks, and there's more of them now than ever. So anyway, we have 685.9 miles to go to our to Cape Flattery. Still a long ways to go, but we're still okay. Boat's okay. We're okay. Plenty of food. Our water maker's working fine. We're going to run it here in a few minutes again. Top off our tank. I dug a jerry can of fuel out and added it to our main fuel tank this morning. That was something of an adventure. And my cargo having shifted, I put it in there in such a way I thought it would be easy to get out, but everything shifted in the locker, and it took me probably half an hour to get the can out of the locker. Once I got it out, it was no big deal to refuel, but getting it out of the locker was a chore. So let that be a lesson to us and everybody else. When you pack, think of these things. If you're going to need it, put it where you can get to it and get it out. I thought I'd be able to get those cans out, but I had to unpack a lot of stuff to get them out of there, and it should have been just a lift out operation. If it had happened, if we had run out of fuel unexpectedly at night in bad weather, it would have been a real problem. And so here we are on Independence Day, July 4th, our 40th day at sea. I hope Laura's mom's not worried too much because we're doing fine. It's just taking us longer than we expected. Can't put the jib up because of that forestay problem. And the wind has just not been cooperating with us lately. It did for a few days, but for the most part, the wind has not been very cooperative. And running dead downwind is not the best point of sail. If I could pull out the jib, you know, and balance the main, it would probably be good, but this way, no, not really. So, we just keep plugging away, and we'll get there. 3 or 4 more weeks.
Hey Chuck, what are we doing?
What are we doing? We're drifting.
Again?
Again, yeah.
If we're not storming, we're drifting?
That's about it. We've been drifting pretty much all day.
We made, what, 13 miles since noon?
Since noon, yeah, something like that.
What time is it?
It's now, what time is it? It's 18:30. So in 8.5 hours, we've covered 13 miles maybe.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just trying to see if I can get the boat to stay pointed in the right direction. There is a little bit of breeze, but the slight swell that we have is making the sail flop back and forth in spite of the breeze. So there's more force in the swell than there is in the wind. There's hardly any wind at all. And we're surrounded by our little
That's
buddies,
why
the jellyfish.
Waves are so flat.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a swell running, not much, but looks like we're going to have a nice sunset. First one in weeks, months. How long's it been? I don't know. But
Months.
Month. It's been a month since we had a sunset.
But our jellyfish.
Jellyfish out there, I don't know if you can see them in the camera, but they're just out there as far as you can see. Little scales sticking up, catching the sunlight out there. Millions of them. We've been sailing through these dang things since about latitude 35. And that's 10 degrees of latitude, 11 degrees of latitude. We've been sailing through these things for weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty flat.
We're just looking to see if we're going to get a red sky when the sun goes down. I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty pale to me.
It's pretty. Let's check. Oh, the jellyfish fins.
Oh, the log, is it? Today is July 5th, making it day 41. A little chilly out. We got psyched this morning though. We came out and it was bright and sunny and beautiful and warm and dry. And we came out and shook the reefs out of the sail and have a nice little breeze. Not much, but you know, it's enough to keep us moving. And then inside of an hour, right back to our familiar slate gray cloud cover. Just a few traces of blue around the edges. And cold again, so here we are, sailing along. Not much change, except that we do now have a west wind, which is good. The barometer rose through the day yesterday and during the night last night, so we're on a rising barometer, and it looked really great this morning. Surrounded by millions of those jellyfish in rafts. They're just everywhere. Oh, there's some more blue up there. Well, a little bit patches of blue, we're hoping. Hoping and praying for better weather, because we're not really making a lot of progress in what we've had so far. However, the wind has veered back to the west, and that's very good. That means that we can actually sail a rumline course to our destination, and the boat does not have a tendency to round up and go in the opposite. So that's all good. That's all good. We still have plenty of food. Water maker's still working. We're running low on paper products. Paper towels are getting thin. Tissues are getting thin. So we really need to make port pretty soon. But we still have over 600 miles to go. So there you are. 600 miles to go on day 41.